Okay. All right, I'm going to go ahead and not use the microphone because we have people here tonight, and I put the camera close to me. It's always not going to capture everyone here. Thank you all for being patient there, and welcome to the November meeting of City Island Rising, and thank you all for being here, building community with us. Sign-in sheets going around, so be sure to sign in. That way we keep everybody's contact information. I want to thank you all for coming. Also want to thank our board members who are here, who I might have screwed up on the camera. Is it not doing well? Or?
It's just
the back here. Yeah,
there we go.
That's right.
Sorry about that. It was, Kim Woodruff, obviously, who's here, Dan Triber, David Diaz, and I know others will be joining us as it goes along. There's a lot going on, so we're going to touch on a little bit of everything. And, obviously, there's going to be some stuff we're going to get to tonight. If not, we are planning to do a December meeting. Our guest is going to be Councilwoman-elect Shirley Aldeval. So she will be our guest at the December meeting. David and I have been speaking to her, and we're working on a date in December. It might not be the third Monday of the month. I know we changed it this month. We might change it again next month to accommodate her schedule, because obviously city council members have a busy transition.
Sort of accommodate the holidays as well.
Of course, another good point. I'm not immediately familiar with all the religious observances, but we try to be accommodating to everyone's religious observances.
Yeah, Hanukkah starts on the 14th.
So we will definitely do it so everyone can be here no matter what your faith is. Find a date that works for everyone. On that note, there's a lot going on with the ferry, so I wanted people to be aware of that. First off, obviously the elections, and we're a nonpartisan group, but it has brought in a new round of elected officials. Both the mayor-elect, Zoran Mandani, as well as the council member-elect, Shirley Aldeval, are pro bringing the ferry to City Island, so we've seen some notable progress on those ends, which is very encouraging. Also, and I have it, I think I put it over there, or actually I have it here, they just did a ferries report, which is their long-term visioning plan. This carries all the potential stops. It's not a guarantee, but it's the potential stops they're going to be examining throughout the city to add to the New York City Ferry program. City Island is the only listed Bronx stop. So we've come a long way. We're still moving, but progress, it's the small steps that matter. And both of these are very positive steps for what we're trying to do here. We're also pursuing what we call the inside-outside strategy. What is that? Inside, we're working with elected officials. We've had numerous meetings with different community stakeholders, different elected officials. The outgoing councilwoman, as well as Councilwoman Amanda Fernandez, who's the chair of the Economic Development Committee. We're going to continue those discussions, continue those meetings. If you'd like to be a part of those, if you think you bring interesting points of discussion, let me know. We can try to include you. But also outside, mobilizing people on the outside, mobilizing our fellow neighbors, citizens, stakeholders is also super important. So we've started a video series. We're going to be interviewing small business owners about why they want the ferry here. We have a long list, including our great host here. Thank you, Peter. We also have some of the other business owners, deeply rooted business owners in the community. We're also going to do a video about all the business closures, because we've lost 2 businesses in the last 2 months. Both Artie's and Ohana have now closed. So you might not know that because the lights are still on, but that has happened. So we're working to kind of highlight, maybe not highlight, but it's not a highlight of the neighborhood, but kind of bring emphasis to the fact that that there is a serious problem here, and we've got to kind of embrace new ways of thinking in order to address this problem. So that's very important. I'm going to pass around the ferry report. I put a green tab here, which is the section about City Island, but it's a 28-page report, and if someone wants to read the whole thing, have at it. It's also online. So we need the best stories as it gets back to the video segment here. So if you have any insights, if there's a different way of thinking, if there's a different perspective you think would be helpful to us and valuable, let us know. We have a few unique City Island personalities who we're going to be including in these videos that we think will broaden the appeal. So, if you have anybody like that, you can think of someone, let us know. But
John,
yes,
why don't you stand here?
well, okay. Is that better? Hey, are we good?
No.
Right here. Sorry.
That.
There we go.
And then Peter, tell me when it's like. Can you adjust it so it looks at John?
There we go.
Yeah.
Are we good? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
we're all being directed here. Don't worry, in one way or another. So we want the best stories and the best insights. So if you have anybody who you think would be a good advocate to make people think of this in a different way, a few things we have are like people who are well known on City Island. Michael Praetti, who I'm still trying to pin down a date for, but he's offered to do a video. He was featured on Top Chef like a decade ago. But he's like a very authentic City Island personality who would be good at that. Also, we have a few of the people who are younger who have moved away to talk about one of the reasons they moved away was their commute and that they would move back if the commute got better. So we're trying to think of all different ways of telling this story. So we welcome, I know I'm putting everyone on the spot here, I'm not asking anyone to call out anything, but any good ideas you have, please let us know. Beyond the ferry stuff, although that has been a big focus of ours in the last few months, we're doing more with flooding and resiliency. So we kind of made a list here, David and I, of what got done and what needs to happen still. So I'm just going to kind of read through it to give everybody kind of what we kind of are prioritizing here. Obviously, the Miniford Moat is no longer, Lake Orchard is no longer. There have been a number of street resurfacings within Pelham Bay Park. It's not done yet. Particularly, I know the area by Pelham Bay Bridge where you make the right turn. It is an area that's still, it's kind of like the moon landing. So we get it, and we're still working to address those things. But, something that's super important. Also, we've been pushing, as the current mayor's administration, the Adams administration is outgoing, they asked us to focus on a few things that could be quick fixes that, maybe they could fit in. So we had suggested the area on the corner of City Island and Tier Street, right by the medical office, for a possible catch basin or something there to irrigate what's going on there. And we know that they're studying, they've actually done a long-term study now for the Parks Department of all the flooding within Pelham Bay Park. It's a Pelham Bay access study. So if you have any photos of flooding, send them to me, and we will get them included in the study. We've had 25 lights that were repaired. They did an electrical repair of some of the wiring within Pelham Bay Park. That's why the bridge lights are finally on. I think, Jason, you were the one who made the joke at the last meeting that a lot of them are off, and you're right, but they fixed a couple of them. But that's one part of it. And, the ramp, obviously the ramp as you get off the hutch was resurfaced at the beginning of the month. So that was another positive development. That was, again, a byproduct of our meeting with the mayor's office last year. Orchard Beach Road still needs some work. City Island and Shore Road, which we just talked about, still needs work. Ditmar Street, both the dead end on Ditmar Street, which is on this side of the road, as well as the bay side are things that are under consideration. We're going to be putting in for a cloudburst study. This is a flooding study of the whole neighborhood. They're doing one of these right now in Mars Park and Parkchester as a part of the Metro North survey. So we're hoping to get ahead on that as well. We're also going to be reaching out because they did pass the Green Bond Initiative about a year ago. This was something everybody voted on. Not in the last proposals that went through, but in the previous one. So we're going to be following up to make sure that City Island is included in the Green Bond Initiative. So stay tuned for that. We'll be putting the letters online as we get them out there. And we're also going to be reaching out to the Mamdani transition team, not just about the ferry, not just about the flooding, but about our issues with our emergency management. The fact that the bridge was closed for 2 times this summer and in the fall. The fact that we've been trying to get a CERT team off the ground and the OEM doesn't have the budget to do that. So those are going to be important things. But yeah, that's basically the lion's share of what's going on here, is that we have been working with different partners. A lot has been done, but more still needs to get done. So we are committed to doing that, the team and I, and we will keep you posted. And a lot of the work, again, requires a lot of budget money. So we're going to be trying to do that in the transition with the new administration as they come in. I know David's met with the future mayor. I've met with the future mayor. So we're going to try to do a little bit more with those things. And hopefully members of his team primarily get them, particularly the people in the transition, to pay close attention to what happened here. So that's important. On the co-ed front, this is our Community Organizations Active in Disaster. We've had to move the Stop the Bleed training, which I put Stoop the Bleed, my bad there, to January. There just wasn't enough time to fit it in with the holidays. So We'll be doing that training with Jacoby in January. Everyone will be invited. We'll also be doing our CPR trainings, the ones where you get the actual certification. We'll be doing those in early next year as well. And if anyone would like to volunteer for OEM, because we can't, even all of us working together, we do need more volunteers. So if someone would like to volunteer to help with this, please let me know, because we do need some volunteer coordinators. Things that'll carry on to the new administration, the dog run, obviously, because we do need, there needs to be a zoning text amendment that changes with that, so we're speaking to our new council member to get that on her radar. Street cleaning efforts, that had been a big concern of the September meeting. We're still working on it. Obviously, that's going to carry over, because if you want there to be a dedicated street cleaning, you're probably going to need more funding, and that's probably going to have to come from the city budget. So things that we're going to have to be kind of working on. And then obviously the items listed above. So that's kind of where we are on the big things. David, do you want to speak about some of the stuff you're doing with food insecurity? I know I'm putting you on the spot.
No,
Step forward a little so they can
because
capture you.
it's sort of a at the moment kind of thing, so I never have any true plans. It's just when food does come available, I find a way to go out and get it and bring it here and fill the refrigerator. It's unfortunate, but City Island has this belief that because we're homeowners and things of that nature, that there aren't people here that are suffering from food insecurity, and there is a lot, and even after COVID, when a lot of the other parts of the city have recovered, the Bronx, especially this area, has not yet, and so it's been a challenge, and so. If anytime I have an opportunity to get food, from some other organization, whatever it is, I'll try and pick it up and we fill up the refrigerators. But a lot of the stuff comes from our electeds. We've gotten turkeys this year from the Congresswoman's office, right? Gotten turkeys from one of the other.
Senator Fernandez gave turkeys.
Senator and also Assembly also.
Yeah.
So I mean that's really it. There is no real plot or anything like that. I just kind of just as a whim and as we can we'll do it. But if you have an opportunity to you come across some stuff, you can always feel free to put some stuff into the pantry itself. Or just reach out to me if you have some ideas, if you have something that that you can use, and if I can help you figure out and find a way to do it. Let's I'm open, so.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah.
Do you
Go ahead.
think is there anything going on City Island on Thanksgiving as far as
I have to check with the church because what the previous Reverend Jolly would do the Thanksgiving dinner here at the church. I don't know what the new pastor's doing, so but we can find out. We can find out.
David,
Just another thought, perhaps Dominic's could ask some of his vendors if they would like to contribute towards that effort that we're having here. They might be very receptive.
Yeah,
to
it's been a
doing
bit of a
something.
challenge sometimes with them, there's lots of different reasons. There are insurance reasons, there fear that things that they provide can end up you getting somebody sick or something of that nature. So it's been commercially, it's been a little bit of a tough situation. So, yeah. But we definitely have.
it's a good idea.
We have.
And the nice thing is, because we're a nonprofit, people can donate to us and they can claim a deduction on their taxes.
Right. So what we should do is we were going to set up a GoFundMe, so that we can have a continuous supply of some source of revenue. Because I know that, especially right before when the government was talking about cutting off the SNAP insurance, things of that nature, that really was going to affect a lot of people here on the island, especially seniors that are in pilot co, stuff like that, who rely on that monthly. So we will do that. We're going to put together a GoFundMe, and so feel free to, once that is set up and going, kind of contribute to it and pass it along to people you may know, so we can continue to buy food and stuff like that, so we can
All right, thank you. Does anyone have a question? This is kind of open floor. Is there something that we should have spoken about that we haven't spoken about? Anything that's of importance to anyone here? Anyone who feels that things aren't being addressed? You know, this is your time.
John,
Go ahead.
on Bay Street,
Yeah.
we have a light that's out in front of Paul Manquis' house.
Okay.
It's been like that for about a year.
Mhm.
And when I called 311, they said, oh yeah, we've been getting calls for that about for a whole year. I don't know why they don't fix it.
Give me, send me a street address, and I'll follow up with them and try to get a better ETA.
I think it's 90 million.
Okay, all right, I'll look into that. I know they just put a light on my corner. Street lamp, not traffic light, which I know sometimes drives some people. I get the good, the bad, and the ugly from people on the street lights, so I understand. But no, this will be, so I know they have been doing more lighting on the
They
end.
fixed one. I
Yeah.
don't know why they didn't fix the other one.
You raise good points. I don't have good answers on those points. But definitely that's something we want to see addressed. And, you know, a change of administrations also brings in some new thinking. So this will be another opportunity for us to talk about undergrounding the electrical wires, things like that, which is very important to the neighborhood because we need added resiliencies, improvements that despite our best efforts, you know, while we've made some progress, are not done yet. So go ahead.
Do you know if you're gonna be resurfacing any of these streets that they stopped in the middle and you didn't continue?
I do not, but if you give me where exactly, I'm happy
Well, the
to.
other, starting from Carroll all the way down to Johnny Street, they stopped there,
Okay.
and they haven't kept through it stopped. They stopped on the bay side and then they continued on the other side, or continue all the way down.
It's all on the bay side?
On both sides.
They did Schofield Street on the bay side, because I live there.
Oh, okay, well,
Yeah,
I know.
further down
we
they
weren't
didn't do it.
done, and I know
Okay.
a lot of the others.
All right, let me find out what's going on there.
Okay.
Trinity is doing a Thanksgiving
They are.
dinner. I don't know the details, but last year, normally they do it in the middle of the day,
Mhm.
so everyone can get to their Thanksgiving meal. So I'm assuming it'll be similar.
All right, I'll try to see if there's a flyer, and if there is, we can share it on our social
If you
media.
have the paper, if you have the island permanent, it might be in the paper.
Got it. I don't see the new edition, but
You got
we will
one in
find it.
November?
And we will post it. Thankfully, we have you here, so we know we get a little bit of a sneak peek of what's going to come in the paper there. But no, that's very important. And you know, again, the anchor fridge is open. David does a very good job,
Dan also.
and Dan, I'm sorry, of putting stuff in there and making sure it's accessible to the community. And I see people coming in and out of there all the time, so I know it is widely used. But you know, if you have leftover canned goods, you can go in, you can put them right in there. You know, it's very easy to do.
Yeah, I just ask that people think about what they actually put in there. I know it's wonderful that people just
Yeah.
put food and stuff in there, but sometimes the things that are very perishable, right? And like the other day, there was a big pan, some stuff in there, and I don't know how people supposed to serve, just take the food right out of the big pan. So, you know, if individual meal, stuff like that, as long as it's clearly marked also, right? Because we don't want to make sure that we get people who have allergies or that they're taking something that they can't have.
It's funny when people ask what are the big issues on the island, I usually start with the 3 F's. I start with the ferry, the flooding, and the food insecure. So I do start with a lot of this stuff, and then I build on to some other stuff we have going on. Listen, you know, next meeting I think it's going to be a lot longer and a lot busier because we're going to have the city councilwoman-elect here. But this one, it's up to you guys. Does anyone have anything they want to address that we can speak about right now? Anything that needs to be looked into? I know some things came up with the assembly member when he was here, particularly as they related to utility bills. I'm trying to follow up with him on those bills, which ones he signed on to, and what happened with the utility ombudsman, which I know has been legislation that has been passed in past years, and the governor always vetoes. But in light of how important utility costs have become so broadly in the tri-state area, I imagine that's going to get some serious reconsideration. I believe it's still before the governor's desk. So if people want to reach out to the governor and encourage her to sign that or look into the legislation, that's totally possible. But, you know, that's that's about it in terms of follow-up from the last meeting as well.
Anything new on the casinos?
Yes, so as of right now, with the casino, and everyone just, I appreciate it, I know you know, but just speaking broadly if anyone's watching, what we're talking about is the proposal by Bally's to put a casino at Ferry Point Park. They had went through Parkland alienation. They're now before there was a community advisory council, which all the elected officials had a vote on, which passed it as well. Now it's before the governor's gaming commission. According to the Bronx Times, a week or two ago, they stopped by for a site visit. By law, they can give up to 3 casino licenses. When they started this process, there were 8 or 9 proposals that were before them. And now we're just talking proposals here. That whittled down to 3 through the community advisement process and everything else. So now we're down to 3, but the legislation is they can give up to 3 licenses. They don't have to give all 3. Now, some of us have been wondering because obviously with the economy the way it is, to apply for a casino license, you have to give the state, just to apply, $500 million. So $500 million given to the state is not something they're likely to refuse. But we'll see what happens. We have no updated timetable on that. I believe they have until mid next year.
Well, I think the announcement may come December 1st.
Okay.
Did Yonkers withdraw?
Yonkers did withdraw. Actually, yeah, Yonkers did withdraw. MGM.
Summers was taking that place.
No, so as of I think about a month ago, maybe it was 2 months ago, there were 4 applicants. There were 2 in Queens. There's the Aqueduct Raceway, which I can't remember what they're called. Then you have Steve Cohen's project, which is out of by Shea Stadium. Then you have Bally's, and then you had MGM, which was based out of Yonkers Raceway. Now, the assumption had always been because you have kind of mini racinos with Yonkers Raceway and with the Aqueduct, where there was already somewhat gambling enterprises going on. They have the coin machines and then they have the horse betting. That it would be so easy just to roll the tables in there and things like that. That those would kind of be easy pickings, so to speak. And then it would be a competition for the third one. But now, as you rightfully point out, Mario, now that Yonkers has pulled out, that no one was expecting that. Everyone really thought Yonkers probably had a very good chance of
The
that.
story's not over.
It's not over.
It's not over. No, it's in terms of there's an investigation.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We'll see, right? I mean,
I'm saying that.
yeah. No, I mean, look, if it
That's what I heard.
yeah. You could be right.
Yeah, there was a problem.
You could well be right. So, yeah, long story on the casino, but no new news yet. Obviously, when that is finalized, if it is approved, and it might not be approved, and this group has taken no stance on approving or not approving, I want to be clear about that. But if it is approved, there will be a community benefits agreement where $17 million will come back into the neighborhood every year. It's part of what they have to do. They have to give $17 million or $10 million of their revenue, whatever is more. So, obviously we are going to need to put this community's needs forward in that regard and make sure we are, getting funding for the things we need here. Particularly the community center is in need of funding despite their best efforts, and they're doing a great job. But they could definitely use more funding, so that would be a great place to put it. And there are many other things that need to be funded. And then if they do alienate the parkland, they have to substitute that parkland. It's not as if you just take it and that's that. You have to substitute it. And based on what one of the legal representatives who came to our meeting in February of this year said, one of the places they are looking to put parkland or reconstitute parkland would be on City Island. So we're still at the very early stages of this. We'll see. Obviously, it's been, hey, the senator's here.
Hey!
We're going to put you right on. How about that?
All right, I'm ready.
There we go. They were just asking me at the casino, so.
Okay, well, yes, so the casino has not yet been decided yet. Where we are in the stages, what is it? It made it through CAC, the community benefits package was agreed upon. I think it's actually a very good package. We're getting maybe up to $15 million annually to the direct community, so that's within CB10. And the job opportunities are going to be prioritized to the Bronx. That's something that the board had negotiated. So there is good in that. I totally hear and understand the concerns that people have had in the last year or two, but I do see that every concern has been addressed with a solution. With the traffic, they do have an idea to redo the road. It is something that honestly may be inevitable, because if Queens gets a casino, people are still going to come through the Bronx to go to Queens. But that decision, the final decision as to who's going to get the 3 licenses will be decided by the end of December. So it could be sooner. Someone told me that it might be, in middle December, maybe beginning of December, but it will be decided before the end of the year. And I guess a key point is that not all 3 licenses need to be given. So the law says that up to 3 licenses will be given. There's 3 casinos that are running for it, 2 in Queens, 1 in the Bronx. Very possible only 1 or 2, maybe 3 get the license. So let's stay tuned and see. But should it come to the Bronx, please know that I'm ready to be fully making sure that they're accountable to all of the CBA requirements. It is legally binding. That's a great thing. So within the agreement, all of these promises that they made within the benefits package is legally binding, and if they should break it or not fulfill them, we have the Attorney General to bring them to court. So let's see. But I look forward to the possible jobs that will come. This is a big opportunity for the Bronx, one that we've never gotten before. This is something that will put us in comparison to the rest of the boroughs, minus Staten Island, because I don't know what happens there, but to the rest of the
Yes.
No Staten Island love here.
sorry.
The other island.
No, we only care about City Island.
That's there we go.
But yeah, so let's see what happens. And I am hopeful and faithful that, the concerns of the worst things that could happen won't happen. The casino is the most secure location that it can be. You don't want crime, they don't want crime. They're gonna protect the in and out of it. And part of the community benefits package is getting additional officers, about $5 million just for officer salaries. So that's gonna give us more manpower and womenpower on the ground to address whatever may happen. But I do anticipate it to be something that eventually we won't even notice, because I've seen Yonkers Raceway, I've been to Resortsville doing my own research, and right outside the community, it is quiet. It is quite quiet. All the attention happens within. So we'll see. But I did want to mention, I guess, my interview on BronxNet, because I did talk about some of the casino was asked of me. Gary Axelbay, he asked me about what I thought of the City Island Ferry. And I gave a statement of support, because I do think that is something that can help us. It got to the vacancies here on City Island, and I know we need new ideas, I know we need new businesses, but I also think that we need people coming to the island to support the businesses, because every business can only survive so much based on who's already here on the island. So we do need visitors to see the greatness that's here, create more greatness, and let them support it too. But yeah, I hope to see that effort continue, and hopefully one day, if we are in a place that maybe we do have a casino coming, there can be another way of transportation through a City Island Ferry.
That would be great.
Yes.
Does anyone have any questions for the senator, since she was gracious enough to pop in here?
I know, I told you that I had something.
No,
that I was
no,
totally
we appreciate
wrong
you
on my own
being.
calendar,
We
so.
always appreciate you being here. I will start. Can you give us obviously we have the Rodman's Neck meeting next week, just the monitoring committee, and you've been great, because you've been one of the key proponents of the legislation to try to rein in Rodman's Neck when they redesign it. Is anything going on with that at the Senate level right now?
Right now we got to get it through committee.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to the retreat that we have early December with all of the senators. And this is our time to remind our colleagues what are our priorities. I'm very happy to say that in a way, well, it's funny because I've been asked, by some colleagues, what's your priorities for next year? What should I pay attention to? And, this is my priorities. So I have my local bills here, but a lot of my bills that I've supported and championed are getting signed into law. So I'm so happy about that. Yeah, it's a good problem to have.
Absolutely.
But much of it is focused in my committee that I chair of substance use disorders. So we've done a lot of legislation to really help the world of substance use prevention, support, recovery services, and even so much like changing language. One of my bills that got signed into law was changing it changing anything in the state constitution. The word addict will now be changed to person with substance use disorder, because big part of the stigma why people don't get help is because of the words we choose to use. So while it's a simple fix of language, I hope it's going to be very meaningful to the continued conversation and treating people with dignity as they go through their recovery journeys. So that's great to hear. But yeah, it's on my priority list. I forget which committee it falls through, but committees might switch around. We lost 2 senators now from the last election. So Senator Brad Hoylman, who was Judiciary Chair, he's going to be going to be Borough President, and Senator Sean Ryan is going to be the Mayor of Buffalo. So with these 2 vacancies, I don't know if we're going to be switching around. So to be seen.
Excellent. Do you feel that any of the cuts in the federal government are going to impact addiction services and stuff?
Very
like that?
much so. And I recently gave a statement because my counterpart in the Assembly believes that if there's cuts in services, which we very much believe there to be, to take money from the opioid settlement funds that we have there. I'm in disagreement with that. That money is a supplement, it's not a supplant, and it's money that we supposed to add to what we're already doing. And we're in a state now where we have heard that and seen overdoses go down. So my argument is, why are we going to allow money to be lost when what we've been doing is working? Overdoses are going down. We need to continue to support it. And that is what the opioid settlement dollars do. They support the work that's already being done, enhancing it, and taking away from the enhancement to just fulfill and keep at the status quo of what it was. I don't see it being helpful. So I do have a bill that I'm looking to introduce that would generate, if we add a 5-cent tax to alcohol sales, that would add $250 million to substance use services, particularly alcoholism. We have opioid settlement dollars, and those dollars are going to helping overdose services and opioid addiction. We have the cannabis dollars that are coming from legalized cannabis, and those are all going to community efforts and organizations that help with the problem, if there is a problem. But there's no direct fund for alcoholism, and alcoholism is the #1 substance that gets anybody addicted to anything else. And as much as we've expanded alcohol purchases in New York State, I feel like we've kind of left the problem that exists. So I am proposing a 5-cent tax to alcohol sales. And even if it has to be shortened down to a 3-cent tax maybe, it could still get us $100 million towards the work that's being done. So I will be talking with my colleagues on that, and I know it's going to be a tough year, and I don't ever want to say let's put a new tax, but this is something that I think really deserves the support, the attention, and it would go to good use. So, priority of mine.
No, this neighborhood's been really, everyone here knows someone who we've lost to addiction. So it's definitely something big in this neighborhood. Does anyone else have any questions or comments for our senator while she's here?
I have a question.
Go for it.
Is anything being done or discussed at the state level in regard to auto insurance rates? Because the Bronx has extremely high auto insurance rates, like they've doubled, tripled in the last few years. Like, is anything being done about this? And actually I think it was the thing that like made it so that medical coverage would automatically be added, but that just increased the price of the insurance.
Yes, so I'm looking into that. I was newly appointed on the insurance committee, so trying to see everything that needs to be fixed, and I suffer the same problem. I remember getting the bill, and I'm like, I haven't gotten an accident in 3 years. Like, why is my bill going up? And I call, and they're like, oh, you gotta talk to your local legislators. I'll call her. Definitely looking into it, and it really is
Little did they know.
I know, I'm like, I don't know her. No, but Senator Jamal Bailey is our insurance chair, so he is well aware of these concerns, and I haven't been able to talk a lot with his committee yet as to what is the change that needs to happen. But along with property insurance and everything related to housing, it's definitely on our radar this year to address the affordability that is not there in insurance. So I gotta figure out what the bill is, but I do want to put something forward on that.
Jenny?
Yeah, I have a question about that. Yeah, I did have accidents and had to go to the state for it, and then it turned out to be like $1,200 for $1,500. And I tried to go through the offices. They send me here, they send me there to the Department of Finance, and then here, and I think I finally got to maybe your office, and they couldn't do anything, obviously, So it's, I mean, I paid probably now 24,000 for 2 years. And what do you figure? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's just
I mean,
crazy.
the
Something needs to
insurance
be done.
companies can reject you at a certain point. They just don't cover you anymore if you have accidents. And then if you have to go through a state plan, it is $1,500 to $2,000 a month, I believe. And so I'm in the same boat because my husband got in an accident. He got in 2 accidents that were not his fault, and
Doesn't matter.
it doesn't. So the way the faults work
Yeah, here
with the
there's no
insurance
fault.
is really problematic because you can be a perfect driver and just be the victim of other drivers, and your insurance rates skyrocket to the point where we can now, after a year, more than a year of waiting, we are able to get a policy at about $1,100 per month
For one car?
for probably like $900 a month for one car, and that's after it's gone down. It's cheaper for me to rent a car, so I rent a car. I've been renting a car from Avis for 18 months now.
We did the same.
It's cheaper than getting insurance, because their insurance that you purchase, like you can use your credit card, some of the credit cards have insurance built in, and then you pay for liability, and it still ends up being cheaper than purchasing insurance through the state, through like a normal insurance company.
And the other thing is that you drop it. Like, you can't say, okay, I can't afford this, I can't drive for 6 months, let me catch up. And if you do that, then you can't get reinsured because you've been uninsured for a certain length of time.
A good
So
example of
it's
that
like,
is,
I don't understand what to do with that, you know?
a good example of that is AARP. AARP is funded by, it's a big insurance, Hartford.
Okay.
I went to law school in Connecticut, I can tell you about Hartford. And what they did is that if you were out, I hadn't driven in 3 years. So I decided to go back into get a car and drive. And they said, because I was not insured for 30 days, they would not insure me. Now, they're a big benefactor of AARP, so I'm now complaining because they basically have taken a good part of the population out of driving, you know. And if you haven't had an accident because you haven't driven, or you haven't had an accident because you're a good driver, if you don't have insurance, you can't get insurance. And the only way they do that is they hold you up.
You
And
can't.
it's prohibitive, the prices. So when we started tracking down, we called everybody. We called the insurance office in the state, in Albany. We called everybody, and everybody's been pushing us away. So we thought maybe if someone would be our advocate, maybe put it on the radar and say, you know, it's about time. We might become a heroine. I just don't know. But we need the help. You know, we're a big portion. We're the wealthiest group generationally with all the money, but some of the things that we can't do. And it's, why should I give you my money that I saved all these years for because you want to charge me, you know, these ridiculous rates. And so we're now out of that system. There's a threshold in New York State because we're a no-fault state. So if you have a perfect record and somebody hits you, well, guess what? You're at fault. If your car is parked and you put in a claim and you're not even in the car, guess what? Well, that's an event. You get surcharged for that. We don't have a shot, you know. And the younger we are, and the older that we are, we have no one to defend us. And we
I
need
will
some help.
absolutely look into this, yes. Give me like a month or two, because I know there's a bill idea within this conversation, maybe two.
And the state also, like, part of it is the state, because the state, one of the things that happened to me is that, like, so I've gotten exactly one ticket in the last, 20 years. I was crossing the Whitestone. I was coming back from, my dad was dying of cancer. I was rushing about as you do when you're dealing with a sick relative, trying to get my kids back to something. And I got caught in a speed trap on the Whitestone Bridge. And then, and I was probably going 25 over or something like that. So then, so I got a ticket. You know, the guy's like, are you in a rush? I didn't even say anything, I just took the ticket. Then COVID hit, and it got delayed forever. And then finally, if you get pulled over by the state trooper, you can't negotiate it. It's either you get that ticket or you don't. You know, there's nothing, they don't like reduce it down to this kind of thing. It's just you get what you get. So I got the ticket, and this is 3 years later, finally get the conviction. Then there's something where you get like a $500 fee from the state if you have a certain number of
It's a
points.
surcharge, yeah, absolutely.
So you pay a fee. So I didn't. So I'd already paid so much to the lawyer, to the ticket, and so I paid the fee in installments. Well, I missed the second installment just by accident. I just didn't see the letter about it, and so they suspended my license. And I reinstated it within about less than a week. Once I realized that had happened, I paid the fee, got it reinstated. But all because of this one speeding, I ended up with like this fee to the state for $500. That happened in 2018, and because it takes so long to get through the system of getting even convicted, just convict me already, unless you plead guilty, but you try and get out of it if you can. So that was 2018 that happened. It's still on there because of all the stuff that has happened since then, because I didn't get convicted till later. So it's still on there. It's 2026. It's still on there.
On your record?
Yeah, it's still on my record. It still shows up
The
as a
case
violation
hasn't
on
been
my record.
dismissed. The case has been dismissed?
No, the case didn't get a conviction until like 3 or 4 years later, partially because of COVID, but they just take forever. So if you get a speeding ticket and it keeps getting delayed going through the courts for 2-3 years, which is very common, and then you have to wait another 3 to 5 years for it to come off. So you're looking at being punished for something that happened 8 years ago, 9 years ago. Like it shouldn't be able to sit on there for so long, because like, and I don't think your license should be suspended just because you forgot to pay a bill to the state for $125. Because the suspension on your license, the insurance, they don't know the difference between a suspension because you forgot to pay a $125 fee and because you did something actually illegal. They don't differentiate it. So the state is actually making people look worse toward the insurance companies. And New York City is actually the worst because they don't negotiate things down as much as like some of the smaller municipalities that are kind of just like trying to get the money in their coffers. So they'll take the money to try and, but they won't give you as much points. Like they'll switch it to like a seatbelt thing or something, even if you're speeding, they'll kind of play around with it. But New York City doesn't do that. They're very like strict. So you end up, so the city and the state are kind of playing into the insurance and making people look worse, because I literally have had one ticket. That's it. The entire, in this whole time.
Since 2018.
Yeah, one ticket since 2018, but before that I never had anything. You know, so it's like, it doesn't make sense.
Sounds like you had a lot more committee work than what you used to do.
No, I'm gonna do
Well,
my
personal
homework.
stories, I
It'll
guess.
be
Yeah,
by
there's
like
a couple of
January,
driving
February.
scenarios here,
I'll
but
have some
it's,
real
and
ideas.
in the Bronx, and a lot of people, what they do is they just stop having insurance.
Yeah, that's
That's
part of
And they're driving still. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not driving without insurance, but there's a lot of people in the Bronx who are driving around with no insurance. And
And
then
that
they're
raises
putting
the
other
risk.
people at risk. And then the prices are going up even further because they have to cover the cost of these accidents that occur when somebody doesn't have insurance.
Now I know my priorities this year.
It's a big issue.
No,
Yeah, it's
definitely.
really bad.
issue.
And property insurance is also bad, but I'm not gonna get into that.
Next meeting.
Any other questions for the senator before we break? All right, well, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Let's give a round of applause. And we'll all be around if there's people have individual problems, but we just want to thank you for coming out, and we look forward for you all to come back in December when we have Councilwoman-elect Aldeval here with us. But thank you to the Senator for coming to this meeting.